Welcome into Okinawa Arena. We're in Japan. It's our 9th straight day of basketball, and we're gonna see Finland and Venezuela go toe-to-toe here in the classification round. Despina Barton alongside FIBA Hall of Famer Andrew Gaze. Venezuela looking for their first victory here of the tournament, go out on a high note. Meanwhile, for Finland, they have an opportunity to make sure that they're considered in that top seeding as far as 17 to 24 goes, Andrew.
It is, and Venezuela, they've been had times throughout the tournament where they've been highly competitive. Against Slovenia in the very first game in the tournament, that first half, they gave Slovenia all they could ask for, and unfortunately, they've copped a few injuries along the way. One of their veteran, Gregory Vargas, he's not playing with a broken bone in his hand, and the other one, who's a bit of an emotional enforcer for their team, is Michael Carrera, who also is no longer with the team because of injury. But this is a team that just a couple of nights ago were 15 points up early on in the fourth against Japan and found some way to be able to lose it. And this other team down the other end, Finland, you know, they had their ups and downs as well. Unfortunately for them, they're more downs, but they have one of the better players in the competition in Lauri Markkanen, and he is currently the 4th leading scorer in the competition, and he has shown why he is a future megastar of basketball, and he's representing his country with dignity here, averaging 23 points and almost 8 boards a game. But it's the support that he needs, and you know, there's been some really solid performances from some of his teammates, in particular Saso Salin. He's the veteran of the group. He can shoot it from the perimeter, but it's just been a little inconsistent with some of them. I tell you what you want to do if you're tuning into this one, keep your eye on number 13, Komwa. He is bouncy, he plays with great energy, he's very good at both ends of the floor, and he's another one you think the Finland future, he's going to play a pivotal part in it.
Lauri Markkanen on your screen here, just to the left. He had an incredible outing against Cape Verde, 34 points, and with that performance, he became the first Finnish player to score 30-plus points in World Cup play. Lassi Tuovi, the head coach of this Finnish squad that is looking to string together back-to-back wins here in Okinawa and finish up their tournament play. A look at the slate for this evening: Japan, Cape Verde, the finale, and Japan will have a chance here to notch its 3rd
that representative coming out of Asia.
And before we get started here, we'll open up with national anthems first with the visiting team, Venezuela. And now for the home team in today's contest, Finland.
the national anthem of Finland.
These two teams closing out their World Cup play here today from Okinawa as the two coaches shake it up at mid-court. We're in the classification round here. Finland wanting to string together some momentum as they're going to fight and claw their way for best positioning here to be considered for Olympic qualifying bid.
Well, that's right, and they have, I think, the most fans here in Okinawa when outside, of course, the host, Japan, but the Finland fans have travelled to support their team. They haven't seen over the last few decades a lot of major international basketball events, but they've prepared to come here, and it's been fantastic. Adds a great atmosphere to this one. And for Venezuela, they're one of the smaller teams in the competition. They're also one of the oldest teams in the competition. And they've had all sorts of problems scoring. They're only shooting it at for field goal percentage of 41%, which is 27 in the competition. So they've got some work to do as we take a look at the starters. And Gali Soho has been, I think, their standout as far as shooting the ball. And also, Nesta Colmenares, he has been a rock. He scores, he rebounds, and he has been one that's been one of their more consistent players for Venezuela as we take a look at the numbers against Japan, and the shooting percentages are off the charts. 17 points and 8 of 10 from the field is really good shooting for Nesta Colmenares.
And he's got some help from a youngster here, and Gali Soho, just 23 years old, averaging nearly 13 points here in the competition. And we've seen him get some pretty big assignments.
Yeah, he is. He's explosive on the offensive end. That game against Japan, he almost single-handedly got them over the line. As I mentioned, 15 points up, and Fernando Duro, he's had a tough time of it. Had to experience some hardship along the way with some tough losses.
And certainly for Venezuela, 2 of their losses coming after leading at halftime. And he said most recently against Japan, they just lost the defensive effort in the fourth quarter. Not really sure what happened because they dominated the first 35 minutes.
Well, they did, and they got nervous on the offensive end as well. And this raucous Japanese home fan base, they got behind him. And for Finland, well, we're going to talk about Lauri Markkanen, I think. But Myro Little, he's a youngster. He's an emerging player, only 19 years of age. And Saso Salina, I've been really impressed with the way he goes about it. He's a good shooter, plays with a high basketball IQ, and he's going to have another big one. But this fella here, Markkanen, he is just coming off, well, a career season in the NBA. Averaged almost 26 points a game, 8 rebounds, and he shot it at 49%. He was an NBA All-Star last season and the NBA Most Improved Player. Very, very bright future.
And then he's got some assistance from the wing position. Mikhail Yantunin, averaging 8.3 points a game, plays ball in Paris, France. But this guy has been able to offer another threat on the outside to complement Lassi Tuavi's crew, who is again looking to string together a pair of victories here on their way out of Okinawa. Lauri Markkanen, by the way, the highest scoring Finnish player in FIBA World Cup after his performance a couple nights ago versus Cape Verde.
Well, they haven't had a lot of experiences in the Olympics, so, but still, he is, if he continues to want to represent Finland, he's going to bolster those numbers over the years because he's still a very young man. He's only 26 years of age, so he's got a lot of basketball left in him. And with his size, and if he can remain healthy, he is going to be a tremendous player for Finland to build their future around.
And Coach Duro here is going to try and draw something up for his team to get started with a fast-paced first quarter. They lost, like we mentioned earlier, the fourth quarter versus Japan after leading 33 minutes of it. They're without Gregory Vargas. He is here. He had a successful surgery, but he is on the bench, of course, after the fractured hand. So Venezuela short-handed once again. 10 to go for Coach Duro's squad.
That's right, and I was talking about Sassoon. So he's averaging 9 points a game, and all of his points are coming from the free throw line or the three-point line. Beyond the three-point line, he's averaging 9 points a game and has yet to make a 2-point field goal basket. Can you believe that? That's I had to check that twice.
Mr. Gaze, can you say that one more time? He's not made a 2-point field goal?
Sassoon Saline, averaging 9 points a game, is 0 of 5 from the 2-point line. He's 11 of 30 at 37%, which is solid numbers from the 3-point line, and he's a perfect 3 of 3. And if you add all that up together, my math says he's averaging 9 points a game and no 2-point field goals made. So that's a little quirky statistic. Now that's his role, he's a 3-point shooter. But you would think across 4 games you'd get a little cheapy somewhere on the fast break or something.
Well, he's got 40 minutes to add a digit to that column, Andrew Gaze. And for Finland and Venezuela, they're getting set here. This is going to be the first time these two teams have met in senior competition. It's happening here in the classification round of the FIBA Men's World Cup. 5 games in 9 days for these two teams. We're going to see what they've got left. Tip ball going to Venezuela. Zamora, by the way, getting his first start for the team from the Americas.
They're going with one of their bigger lineups they can actually go with now that Zamora and Gratterol is also in that starting lineup, along with Calmanares.
Soho, little step back 3, misses. Him and Little have similar games, so it'll be fun to watch them match up. Jan Tunen with the ball. Back to Little. Marking it off the curl, right to the rack. No one steps in front.
Well, that's been somewhat symbolic of the challenges that Venezuela have had for 50% of that possession. That looked like their defense was pretty sound, but just in the end, a little dribble handoff opens up the lane, and relatively easy too for Markkinen.
Jan with 3 to shoot. Soho's got to keep his eyes up. He'll get through the lane, off. And a shot clock violation.
As I mentioned, offensively, Venezuela have had their problems with their field goal percentage, only 41% overall, which is 27th, but also in total points, only 74 points per game on average, which is 26th. So they need to really crank up their deep, because as Little knocks down the mid-range, because at the rate they're scoring, they just can't score enough points.
Jan, the point guard of this Venezuela squad. Soho, design play for him on the wing.
He's come out in an aggressive mindset. 0 of 3 Now for Soho.
Little Dion Tunin disrupted Colmenares there. And Finland's going to stay back on D.
Well, maybe that aggressive start by Soho wasn't part of the coach's plan. Might have been Soho's plan, because after 2 minutes, well, not quite 2 minutes, they've decided to make a change already as Pedro Chorio comes into the contest.
So Ruiz on the floor. Setting the screen. Guient elevates for three, and he gets it.
Guient's been the floor general for Venezuela. Can knock down the three, but what's impressed me is his mid-range. Can get to his spot, free throw line, that type of distance, can pull up and can knock him down.
Little, Markkanen spotting up. A miss. Ruiz will scoop it. Change of gears here for Chorio. And he gets an easy bunny. Little switching directions. A lot of movement. Saline with the rock. Markkanen driving will pull out. Little skips. Saline from three. Rolling in for Saline.
That's his bread and butter. As we mentioned, he's not overly keen on getting inside the three-point line, and there's good pressure. They throw a trap on Guient, and fair enough, get the ball out of his hands, but that's not tight enough, and that's not a hard enough closeout on a very, very good three-point shooter. The other thing that's too, when you think of Lauri Markkanen and the very impressive numbers, like I mentioned, the fourth-ranked scorer in the competition, he has not got it going from the three-point line at all, where he's 5 of 27 on the tournament.
Corner look by Jan Tunin. Misses. Colmenares kicks it out. Guient, Colmenares. A lot of dribbling here. Head down, baseline. Guient blocked.
You're right. They ran some good motion, some cutting action, a flex cut to get this offense starting, but then it got into Guient's hands and way too much dribbling. And you can see the size difference too there, but with Jan Tunin just covering Guient, and the Finland bench is up and about. Still playing with great passion. And why wouldn't you? A couple of thousand Finnish fans in the stands getting around their team.
And now on the floor, Olivier Camois. Feed to Markkanen. A flex from the fans. A little dynamic duo, giving this Finnish team a boost of energy. They lead by 4. Kubian to Ruiz. He'll shoot it after it was disrupted there by Finland. Camois bringing the ball up. Markkanen stripped. Going the other way with Stefantes. Saline. And Voltunen on the other end, trading baskets in transition.
Yeah, it's alarm bells ringing for Venezuela. That's not good enough. They made the layup down one end, and no help for Stefantes, who just was coming back into the play. And just streaming down the floor, wide open, uncontested dunk. Defensive transition, a problem early on for Venezuela.
Kubian with the ball. Skips it over to Chorio. Driving left. Blocked again, this time Valtunen.
Only 0.6 seconds left on the shot clock as well, so they're going to have to catch and shoot. Won't have time to do anything else. Good D by Valtunen.
Cervantes. And Ruiz with the extra effort there. So Finland ball, they're up by 4 midway through the first quarter.
And straight away, Finland, very early on in this contest, Fernando Duro, their coach, he's seen enough of their man-to-man and he's decided to have a look at some zone defense. 2-3 zone now for Venezuela.
Kamwa, a little alley was the attempt and the idea to Madsen.
Yeah, Kamwa, the right idea. When you're making those alley-oop passes, you got to obviously read the receiver, but just you got to throw it like you're just trying to miss a shot. That time he threw it too wide.
Tries to get it back on defense. And Celine will take a breather here. Markkanen on the bench as well. And Henri Kantunen steps on. Trio pass taken away. Makshuni running. Extra handle. Valtunen the finish.
Makshuni just beautifully read, knew that the defense was coming at him. Have a look at it. So he assesses the situation. He sees 2 of them coming at him and the no-looker in transition. Just a well-read play, drops it off for Valtunen, and he makes the easiest of 2.
And that's going to go ahead and force Venezuela and Coach Duro here to take a timeout. 6-point margin.
Pero pará, 1. Pero acá espere el 2 y el 3, por favor. Materán, escuchá. Inicia acá, Pedro. Miguel, Materán. Acá, espera, Sifo. Ataca. Pedro primero engancharlo a Materán, a ver si podemos tomar un tiro acá. No hay nada, seguimos mano en mano. Vamos.
For Finland, they've been able to move the ball quite a bit. Celine to Markkanen here.
Well, 8 of their 13 have come in similar fashion. Transition baskets or the easy backdoor cut. That's some good execution, Finland.
For Coach Turovi's group, they've been able to register 20-plus assists in the last 3 games. They like to play that way. And Coach Turovi says all he's asking for his guys to finish this tournament is he wants to see them playing together, having fun together, because that's not how this tournament started for Finland.
Oh dear. Just got it. You see the Makshuni just complained because there was only 16 seconds left. I think that foul bailed out Venezuela. Otherwise, it was going to be an 8-second backcourt violation.
Maturin on the curl, top of the key. Won't go down. Ruiz the last to touch it.
We're going to see a lot of that. Venezuela, they let it fly from the 3-point line. They average 34 3-point field goal attempts a game. And to give you some context with that, that's 3rd most of any team in the competition. So with their small lineup, they like to create shots from the 3-point line.
Turrios making a stop there in the baseline. Kantunen posted up, 3-ball, misses. Kamwa came flying through. Kubian through the gut, kick, drive it in. Cifuentes gets it over to Churio. And a few empty possessions here for Venezuela.
Well, that's right. They're going in against some good size. Look at Komwa and Madsen. The penetration was good, and the ball movement, the penetrate, kick, but again, ending with a deep 3.
Kamwa with the ball. Madsen driving baseline, takeaway, Ruiz. This Venezuela squad has been together since July 17th. Coach Duro talked about how conditioned this group is, and with limited numbers, we've seen it. Maturin, that one a long 2. Come on, spinning. Here comes the double. Can't regroup, and it stays here.
Markkanen checks back in, and this has been a regular pattern for Finland. Markkanen comes in, probably plays the first 3 or 4 minutes, then in the middle of the first quarter, gets his rest. It's a nice stroke. Time.
So 7 on the shot clock here for Finland. Posting up, Madsen's trying to call for it. Sapala throws it up. The underhand, no good. Maturin with the ball. Kubian corner, Cifuentes there waiting for it, and he will hit the 3-ball. Brings the game within 1.
It's been a great response by Venezuela. They came out of the gates a little slow, but they've been able to weather it and work their way back into the contest. The ice test says that Finland should be up half a dozen or so, but they only lead it by 1.
Makshuni, top of the key, a long 2, it's a miss. Maturin covers. 90 seconds left here in the first. Pull up Jay for Kubian. And Venezuela on the run, they take the lead. A 7-0 run for Venezuela here.
It has, it's been a really good response. Kubian comes in at mid-range, knocks it down, and the ball movement. Cifuentes, he's another one that when he came off the bench against Japan, came out and went whack, consecutive 3s. He's had sporadic minutes for Venezuela, and with a couple of injuries, he's got to see a little bit more time.
Markkanen with the ball. Huge size advantage. He'll kick to Kantunen. Sabala for 3. And a bit of a dry spell here for Finland from the outside.
They've missed their last 5 shots.
Maturin off. Kantunen skips it out. No takeaway, Venezuela. Colmenares will drive to the rack, hook with the right. He's earned himself a pair of free throws.
Well, turnovers becoming a real issue for Finland.
And you see Gregory Vargas here on the screen. He's that veteran leader, the point guard out. He had a successful hand surgery here in Okinawa and chose to stay with the team.
Well, good on him. As we mentioned, he's a veteran. He's 37 years of age. He's also an Olympian. He was part of the Venezuelan team that competed in the 2016 Olympic Games campaign. so he's been around a while. And he's showing great spirits, even though he can't be out there with his team. He's captain of the bench, by the look of things, getting up and about, trying to keep spirits high.
There's 5 players on this Venezuela team that was born in 1986 and 87. So like you said, the oldest crew in the World Cup and one of the smallest units as Markkanen holding on to the possession. Finland unable to score for nearly 4 minutes now. A whistle away from the ball going against Matarin.
Yeah, Matarin there, he knew he was getting pinned on that back screen and try to run a shuffle cut for Markkanen, and in his endeavours to get over the top, fouls, but I like the effort of Matarin. Clearly outsized.
Backdoor cut intended, the pass there for Sapala. It's another turnover.
What, 6? 6 of them in the quarter. That's way too many. Just giving Venezuela a good look at it.
That's been an Achilles heel for Finland. They had 19 against Australia to open up the competition. It's been really difficult to change the identity here.
Yeah, that's right. And probably they've been rushed a little bit some of the times, and young point guard as well. He may not necessarily be exclusively responsible for a lot of them, but more a little, just a young guy still trying to figure out how to get his team going.
Kubion with the ball, picks up his dribble. Matarin will feed Cefantes from the free throw line, and that's a tough shot. Cefantes with the final bucket of the quarter. And the run extends for Venezuela. 10-0 the last 4 minutes. Scoreboard reads 17-13 Venezuela.
Yeah, terrific. After a slow start by Venezuela, they made some wholesale changes, and it didn't take long. It was only a couple of minutes in before Fernando Duro swung the changes, and it's had good effect.
Hey, Carl, I told Aaron already. Ball screen, 0 good looks. Where you need to be, setting better screen.
Well, it got off to a good start with Markkanen. A couple of plays on the rim. He's got 4 points, 2 of 3. And as we mentioned, they eventually got it going, Venezuela, and it was Cefantes coming off the bench, providing a spark. He's got 7 points and 3 of 4. And you heard some of the comments in that timeout from Finland suggesting that, well, they're making tough shots. Well, yeah, some of them are tough, but there's a fair sample size in the last 4 games that suggests that Finland's work on the defensive end is a little subpar. They've given up a lot of points, and Venezuela have been able to make the most of them. And in fact, when you think of just points, and that's not always the indicator of how your defense is, but it goes a fair way to giving you a good idea. As far as points against are concerned, sorry, Despina, but as far as points against are concerned, they're 27th in the competition. They're giving up almost 94 points a game, this team from Finland. And that puts enormous pressure on your defense if you've got to get 95 plus to win a game of basketball.
So start of the second quarter here in Okinawa. Despina Barton alongside Andrew Gaze. Finland, Venezuela here in the classification rounds. Finland with a chance to make sure that they are the higher seed when this thing is over. Little's first three-pointer of the game. Colmenares will kick it back out. Trio splitting through defenders, found that to be the direction he wanted to go. And a foul by Sofontes here in open court.
Sacrificial foul. That was one with no other intent other than to foul. Here we see Little. They go under the screen on Little. And that's because he hasn't taken a lot of three-point field goal baskets. He's only taken attempted 4 throughout the entire tournament. He's now 2 of 5. So they're checking him out. They go underneath the screen, and Little, no hesitation, knocks it down.
Celine to Little, driving left. Gets up quickly. Celine with 4 to shoot. He releases. The putback, his buddy, Mikhail Yantunin.
Well, Venezuela, they're trying something different. They are going with a super small team out on the floor. Colmenares surrounded by virtually 4 guards. And they've got Soho trying to guard Markkanen down the other end. Surely they just got to post him up and let him go at Soho.
Colmenares. And a foul is called. Mikhail Yantunin picking up his second personal foul, excuse me. Team's first. So fresh shot clock here for Venezuela. Yent to inbound. Takeaway nearly by Yantunin.
Good.
And there it is, Sapala this time.
Look down low, see the low block? That's the one that I think they need to milk. Soho just doesn't have the size, but he's got the quickness. Forces Markkanen into travel, according to the officials.
So Venezuela ball. Finland staying back. Sofontes calling the offense. Kubian, Little in front of him. And Gient will drive in, use the glass, won't help him. Little changing gears, extra pass taken away. Another shot though, they're gonna have to set up under their own basket.
Venezuela bringing a little more size. Ruiz coming in for Kubian, and Ruiz goes to Markkanen.
We saw this a couple days ago, the inbound directly to Markkanen, and it worked.
Yeah, and we've seen Markkanen, and they're going to call it, I think they're calling it underneath. It looked to me like he's shooting it. Maybe because he hadn't gathered the ball. So they get another go at it, but you're right, this underneath out of bounds play has been successful for him.
And they'll get it back to Markkanen. One dribble, finish with the right, and there's a whistle that will land him on the charity stripe.
Zamora, it is with a foul. And I like it. I like the fact that they're going to him. They recognise that they've got an advantage. Draws a foul. Sends Markkanen to the free throw line.
Misses the first there for the 26-year-old.
It's been something that has stuck out. Maybe it's just in this pool, maybe not represented across the entire World Cup. It's some high-quality free throw shooters and coming up short and well below what they normally do. This is an 87% free throw shooter across an entire NBA season of 82 regular season games. And Just that, sometimes the pressure of pulling on your jersey. Been decent here, high 80s as well.
Zamora making sure both feet are behind. 3-point line. Ball in Little's hands. Saline, extra pass. Marketing going to work on the baseline.
That's quick. A quick explosion by Markkanen around the rim. Gets up and stuffs it in with ease.
Finland back out in front by 4. Soho driving. Foul handed over. Valtunen.
Here's the quick action. Good passing. Great ball movement. Leads to an easy 2 for Markkanen.
Soho driving on Markkanen. Floater is in over the big guy. 7 feet tall is what Markkanen stands at. Soho, 6'5". So 7 inches and a little bit more, the difference there.
There we see Soho. The middle penetration. Just gets that separation in the end, and it was kind of like a push shot. Markkanen goes back to the free throw line.
Seven points for Markkanen here tonight.
Neither of these teams get to the line all that often. And when you're shooting a lot of threes, that can happen. You can understand why Venezuela, they take the least amount of free throws per game than any other team. They only get to the line 11 times on average. And for Finland, they're not a whole bunch better. They get their 15th time, but that's good for 27th out of 32 teams. And Markkanen does what Markkanen usually does, 75%, 3 or 4 so far from the stripe.
Soho alone on the wing, makes him pay.
Well, he got away with a travel. Took a couple of steps to gather himself.
1 point game. Salim now, he will give it a go and feeling good behind the screen. Trading 3-pointers we are here in the second quarter.
The offensive foul. That's the extended pressure. Really putting a lot of pressure on the ball carriers. They try to loosen him up, but come up with a foul. Have a look. There it is on the moving screen. Gee, just the twist. Just need to keep his base, keep his feet in a stationary position. It's that little turning of the shoulder. That's what brought him undone.
Salim now on the wing, playing around the world. 9 points for Salim. Soho pass, that was intended for Soho, excuse me. Cross court from Ruiz. Valtunen in the lane.
Spot on with Sasu Salim. Look at the screening there to create this separation. And this is a guy that plays in big leagues. He plays in the Spanish league for Tenerife, and he's been there 4 seasons and averaged 9 points a game. So this is not unusual for him.
And a block. Valtunen reading it from the jump. Colmenares capitalizing.
Well, they're doing enough to hit big shots at big moments, Venezuela, to keep in touch. Stepped out of bounds. It's going to be another turnover.
A win out with Soho again on defense.
Turnover number 8. That's a nice block.
Elias Valtunen and Colmenares in your eye. Gant here had 10 points, 10 assists versus Japan. Became the first Venezuelan player to have a double-double here the feed on the block to Churio. First ever double-double in points and assists in World Cup for Venezuela. Kamwa, extra tap in.
Good follow. Tidying up the miss from Voltunen.
Ruiz, really close, misses. Makshuni decides to call his own number and feels it. Makshuni now. And Celine hitting from beyond the arc. 7 points of differential. And going against Venezuela, another offensive foul here.
Have a look. Was he stationary? Yeah, see the leaning again? Just a little lean to the right. Now, it's hard because sometimes you're leaning just to protect yourself. You've got a guy coming 100 miles at you, and you just turn a little bit, but that little turn to protect yourself, which is somewhat of a reflex action, is what's caused those last couple. So hope maybe have been a little unlucky on that one.
Celine, play drawn for him. Put back, Madsen. Going to the free throw line, Alexander Madsen.
And I like the play call. Sasu Celine, he's been on fire. 3 of 4 from the three-point line now, but when you got a guy who's hot, go into your playbook and try and construct something for him. And they did that. And again, good work on the boards. They're dominating the boards, Finland, 15-8 in the contest. And some of that is size, absolutely. Finland got some big bodies out there, but some of it's just attention to detail. Boxing out, attacking the rim.
Madsen hits both for his 2 points of the game, and Finland adds on to their lead. It's up to 9. Yet from the logo for 3. Creeping up here on defense. The kick, Sapala. He had 2 choices. Kamwa, Madsen. Madsen misses. Yent blows past Madsen, will create. Makshuni now driving for Finland. And it stays here. Officials saying last touch by Venezuela.
Yeah, and Finland want to have a chat about this. They got themselves a nice advantage, and they want to try and make the most of it. 6 points up here, but they've had some chances just to really push it out. Got to 9 up just a few minutes ago. So they just want to reinforce their strategies and what they're trying to do. They've looked good when they've got out and run. It's a nice play with the overplay with the defense. Simple back cut. See how this Guillant comes off. Deep, deep 3. That's a good 1.5 meters behind the three-point line.
Same spot Luka Doncic was shooting from last night.
Yeah, he does it on a regular basis. And it's amazing how the game has changed so much, and the the three-point line such a critical factor in a team's prospects.
If you haven't done so already, go ahead and scan the QR code on your screen. Make sure you have the Courtside 1891 app on your phone. Scores, stats, schedules. You can all have it all in the palm of your hand. Finland, Venezuela on the court here in Okinawa, closing out their classification play. Sapala, the wing three, no good. Matson, weak side, and he is hacked. Kient will send him to the free throw line.
They need to sort out their concentration and their execution in boxing out. When you're undersized, the fundamentals become a lot more of a priority. If you've got good size, you can go in there and just run around and just use your athleticism and your size to go get it. But when you're undersized, you've got to get someone on your back, box them out, get that inside position, give yourself a best chance to get your fair share.
We keep seeing these Finnish fans in the stands with a big bad wolf. I gotta figure out that history. And there's a Finnish song in part of the warm-ups. Maybe it's a mascot here. Another wolf in the stands.
Oh yeah, it's the mascot, all right.
Yeah, the nickname is Sasigangi. So maybe I'm gonna have to catch up with the Finnish team after this contest. Get the wolf story. Meanwhile, they're on the hunt here in transition. Makshuni will take the three and kiss it to the fans.
Well, there's a 5-point turnaround. Straight away, Venezuela want to put a stop to things. Churio missed one he should have made, and straight away, Finland come up with it and make him pay. So from what you'd normally consider at this level, a good, easy opportunity for two, turns out to three to their opponents.
Por donde salgamos. 42. No nos metamos acá. Pinta y ver esto. Este pasa. Claro, este pasa. Y si está uno para uno, el que tiene la bola, bloqueo.
Finland now with a lot of targets on the outside. Three different players finding a way to add buckets from downtown. Dangerous as this group starts to put together some separation.
Yeah, and again, it gets back to what we were talking about before with, you look at the numbers across a decent sample size so far, and Venezuela in only able to score on average in the 70s. They've already given up 41 here. They've only got their 30. So something's got to give. They've got to light it up on the offense or come up with a way to do a better job on the defensive end.
And you talked about the size differential and the unit that has been out on the floor primarily for Venezuela. They've gone small nearly this entire contest. Here, Mataran with the drive and a steal. Let's see if Churio can add to this. He does. 5 going this way.
Another timeout straight away. And both these timeouts coming on the back of virtually 5-point plays going either way. Sloppy turnover. That's now 9 for Finland. And Churio makes them pay. That's a nice drive by Mataran.
Watch out, probably zone, it doesn't change. In this case, 500 if they're zone, so you cut this way, and either one of you goes up, so we play the pick like against the zone. Mutta if there is man-to-man, I want that when we catch the ball and Sasu goes and Mika comes, we play with Lauri here, they bonus.
So a little bit more time to talk about this.
It's that backdoor play we saw earlier on, and not a lot of ball pressure. And Gratterol comes on with the hands, good hands, kick out. And both these timeouts coming just to try and snap the momentum. Still a nice, handy 6-point lead.
Ball back with Makshuni. Markkanen driving with the right. Shoulder down. Misses. Gratterol with the rebound. Gratterol, the captain here for Venezuela. Showing the double off the hands though. Bullet intended from Cefontes.
It was the right play from Cefontes. It was just too hard of the pass. A hard show. Markkanen comes out really high and shows. And the roll-off option was a good one. Couldn't quite handle it.
Little back on the floor here for Finland. 19 years old, the youngest ever to suit up for the Finnish national team. Great ball movement here. A whiff, though, by Salin. Luckily, Markkanen there to play garbage cleanup. Alone on the wing, Churio. A miss, Markkanen looking for an outlet. A little pump fake, a little bit closer for Valtunen. He gets it back to the marksman, and Markkanen now from 3.
As we said, he's had some problems for the three-point line, but he is an elite three-point shooter. Just hasn't got it going in this tournament on a consistent basis. And another sign of just how much the game has changed. You've got Lauri Markkanen at 213 centimeters tall, knocking down threes, but what about the handles in the backcourt? A 0.5 man.
Well, they say the NBA is positionless these days, so those skills transcending.
Yeah, when you got those types of skill sets, it's kind of the requirement these days. Everyone's got to be able to put the ball on the floor, and everyone's got to be able to shoot threes.
Yeah, backdoor Churio. We'll pull it to the mid-range jumper. It's off. We're running on in front. Salin alone. Valtunen to Salin, and that's his first field goal of the competition.
From the two-point range, that's right. He's knocked down threes, but he was 0-5 in the tournament before that one. He got there. That's what was so surprising, how you don't, an opportunity like this in the first 4 games at some stage didn't come along. But he was 0-5 for this one. No, hasn't been in there all that often. Now he's 1 of 6 from 2s.
He gave us a treat here in game number 5 for Finland. They're up by 13, 7 to go before the break. Makshuni losing his handle, flings something up, and that's how the quarter comes to a close. Finland leads by 13, 48-35.
Well, I think they eventually got to where we thought they would be. At the start of this game, it looked like it was going to be an easy affair for Finland, but to Venezuela's credit, they dug deep. They started to pick it up on the offensive end. But at no stage have we seen Venezuela defense being able to hold. And as such, Finland, once they got it going and the offense of Venezuela again dried up in that latter stages of the second, they kicked away. Finland with a 35-point quarter, second quarter. 35-18 to give him that nice buffer zone as we look at the assists and the leading scorers. Markkanen somewhat quietly going about his business to pick up his 14. And Sasu Salin, he does what he does best, 3 threes, and finally knocking down the 2 for his 11. And Sifonte's got his 7 earlier on. And Churio came in and picked up a few, coming off the bench, again, giving him a bit of a spark. But they've dug themselves a bit of a hole as we look at the key matchup, and it was a slow start, a real slow start for Gali Soho. But eventually he found his way, came in. It was an aggressive start. He went 0 for 3 in the first 2 minutes before the coach said, hey, Soho, you might need to just slow it down a little bit. Come and have a sit with me. And Finland, this has been one of their better offensive performances, shooting it at 55% overall, 50% from the three-point line, and a whopping 88%, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. So they've shot the ball really well. And Venezuela's defense, there was that little travel that Soho got away with. But this man here, he really set the agenda, as he has right throughout the tournament, one of their more consistent performers.
That's why we're going to show you multiple angles of Sasu Salin. He came into this tournament the only player on the Finnish team with World Cup experience. And you can tell as this group stayed poised during the runs that Venezuela had here in the second quarter. Venezuela taking the lead earlier in the quarter, but Valtunen and company focused on staying calm in their time management. And then they had some pieces from the outside start contributing, and this thing seemed as if it was going to get out of hand in a hurry.
Well, they haven't been great from the three-point line. Not bad, but not great. But today they've been superb. Knocked down 7 three-point field goal attempts, but it's the efficiency of which they've done it. 7 of 14, and when they're missing, and missing badly, the ball has bounced their way.
So at halftime, scoreboard reads Finland 48, Venezuela 35. We'll be back at the start of the third.
Whatever our gender, color, belief, or capability, we are all on the same team.
We have the power to change lives through basketball.
Together, we are stronger. No matter your origin, basketball can bring everyone together.
Basketball for good.
That is unbelievable. These guys will be legends in their own country, but also in the international basketball world forever.
Cervantes, he's been the main man for Venezuela with the 7 points, and he's got some help from Churio as well, but it's Cervantes. He didn't play a lot early on in the tournament, and then with a couple of injuries has sawn a bit more time, and in fact he's done really well since getting those opportunities. He's made the absolute most of them, and tonight you look at the shot chart and he's been efficient. 3 or 4 from the field, a couple inside, and that corner 3. He does have 3-point capabilities, but before this one he was only averaging 7 minutes a game, and in fact in one of the early games he had a DNP. He did not play. He only played the 3 games up to this. And at the other end of the floor, it's Markkanen, and he's gone about his business in a pretty efficient and quiet way. 14 points, a couple of easy ones early on, and with his attack on the rim, and with that size he is hard to guard for anyone, but up against a much smaller Venezuela team. But he as well has been super efficient. 5 of 7 from the field, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, and 1 of 2 from threes, where the 3 ball, as we mentioned throughout this the call, has been something that he's struggled with. Now that's not normally the case. He's a 39% shooter from NBA range, but here at the international level he's had some difficulties, but not so much tonight. But across the tournament from the 3-point line, he's before this game he was 5 of 26, so he's 6 of 28. So he's had some difficulties finding his range.
And I think you talked about this, Andrew, too, before the tournament began. He actually spent time in between the NBA season and this World Cup serving his country and going through some training. Maybe that had some effect?
Yeah, national service. I don't know. Obviously, there's a few countries that still do this. You've got to do your time in the Army. And I believe it's you've got to do a 6-month training program before you turn 30. That's the males anyway. And he's had trouble doing that. He went from Finland and played college ball, went to Arizona, then only played the 1 year and then went into the NBA. And because of his time away from his homeland, he's had difficulties getting the time to actually go and do some of that service. And my understanding is he hasn't finished it as yet, but he went as soon as the NBA season finished, and he plays for the Utah Jazz now. He went, and they didn't make the playoffs. So straight after the regular season, he went and he showed some vision on social media of him getting his head shaved when he was in at camp. And he spoke fondly about it, the time he spent serving his country. So he's serving it on the basketball court, but he's also serving it in other ways as well.
And right now, certainly leading the way for Finland. Again, on the line for Finland in this classification game. Not only would they notch their 2nd victory, but they would almost secure a position there in the final standings of 17 through 24. And right, how it will shake out throughout this competition is there's either automatic bids to the Olympics or to the qualifying tournament to get to the Olympics. So a lot on the line here for Finland. Meanwhile, Venezuela, I mean, at this point, it'd be a confidence win, right? If you're able to pair this up and walk out of here, you only have 10 healthy bodies on the floor. And
that's right.
You're seeking your first victory.
They too would be in that same situation, and the higher you finish, the better your prospects of getting an opportunity to play in one of the pre-Olympic tournaments to try and qualify for that. And they've just had some terrible luck with their the injury toll. And the big one, of course, was Michael Carrera. He was a big part of what they were doing, not forgetting Gregory Vargas, who's the veteran, the Olympian.
Yeah, Carrera left against Cape Verde. He injured his right leg. He has since left Okinawa and returned with his club team in Spain for recovery.
Yeah, so the unfortunate situation they find themselves in, and they have battled hard. If you just look at the results, you think that it's, you know, been blowouts, but kind of what we've seen here, they've been very competitive. Now, Venezuela have skipped away, and there's some times the Finland have skipped away to a comfortable 13-point lead, but as you saw in that second quarter, they led for a bit of it, and just they lose their way for 2 or 3 minutes, and at this level, good teams are able to make them pay.
So Venezuela will start the quarter down here by 13 as the Finnish fans, they traveled near and far to get here. They're rowdy. They've got their wolves in the stands. And they are ready to be sent home with one more win, one more celebration here in Okinawa.
It is. And one thing, and I'm no body language expert, but I've been impressed with the way Finland have been able to stay upbeat. It's not like they've dropped their lip and gone away. They've continued to battle and play hard. As you take a look at the energy tracker of the starters, and it's that man that we're talking about a lot with his three-point shooting. Sasu Saleen, who's been logging the most minutes, marking him with the 13. He takes that little break mid-quarters. And for the energy tracker for Venezuela, and 3 of their starters really have played supporting roles. Guillen's been solid, and Colmenares has been just the warrior, the workhorse, the backbone of this Venezuelan team. And he can hold his head up high with the way in which he's applied himself throughout the tournament.
Colmenares there against Japan had 17 points, 8 rebounds, and shot 80% from the field. Today, he's doing a lot of work in distributing and certainly on defense down on the block against the much larger Finnish squad. And here's that QR code again on your screen to make sure you download the World Cup app. This will walk you through all the group and second round and certainly classification games, what the outcomes are, how this all fits into the larger bracket.
Well, the lion is the symbolic animal of Finland. And although for most of the time lions find Finland a bit too cold of a place, but
so nothing to do with the wolf from our brief research here.
It's more the lion. Fontes gets the start for the second half, as does Guillen. And interestingly, Gali Soho does not. Soho, the team's leading scorer, with almost 13 points a game.
Triple came down on Colmenares. Ruiz outworked.
And you're going to get a fresh 14 to work something out, Venezuela.
So my quick research here, the big bad wolf is a tale told in Finnish, but I think we all heard it growing up. We'll want to look into that a little bit more as Colmenares' shot is way short. Ruiz, the cleanup. Salim. Yantunen now. Little off the screen, little give and go action. That one's pretty.
Yep, there's the big bad wolf. Or possibly a lion. That was good on-ball action that time by Finland. And the rookie, Mauro Little, showing his ability to distribute it.
And Kubian with a three-pointer to answer here in the third quarter.
Mauro Little does have the ability. Last year in the under-18 championships, he averaged 9 assists a game. So he can find people on those pick-and-roll situations. He's going to be taking his talents to the University of Baylor, is Mauro Little.
So he'll head to Texas
My word.
right after this, I'm assuming, because camps are...
Yeah, straight away. Got to
Yeah.
get to school, start studying. Baylor won a national title a couple of seasons ago. He won't be the only Finnish player heading back to school, because
Kamala's going to be at the University of Michigan.
that's right. Spent most of he's been in the United States at Tennessee, and now is 23 years of age, going over and finishing off his eligibility at Michigan.
And listen, classes began the first week that this team was here in Okinawa. So,
Catching up to do.
yeah, there's going to be catching up to do. Unless they're like me and you're getting your virtual assignments here in Japan. Big shout out to UCF for making that possible for me. But you don't think about those other aspects of these players, right? They go home, they have, you know,
Well, most of them are pros. Most of them are now playing in professional leagues right throughout the world. But these youngsters who are using their basketball skills to help get an education, it's one of the beauties of the NCAA system. As we see a kick ball. And not only is it great education, but it's a great basketball education as well. And get in front of, on a regular basis, get in front of NBA scouts.
Kubian to Colmenares. He'll drive off. Churio will save it. Won't get it off in time, and a shot clock violation. So Venezuela trying to keep this one tight.
Another turnover. 11 turnovers now for Venezuela.
Yantunen, enough space to shoot it. Markkanen, put back with the left.
I was going to be critical of Yantunen for taking the three, because Kubian was trying to guard Markkanen, but it actually turned out a good result. Had a chance at a three ball, but Markkanen in the perfect spot to just dominate the glass and put it back in.
Kubian looking for help. Churio from the wing and hits it. Nothing but nylon for Churio.
It's a good start to this third period by Venezuela.
And a whistle. Looks like it's going to go against.
Churio just sends a message to Valtunen. If you don't mind, can you possibly keep the elbows down? I think he said. Perhaps in a little bit more direct feedback than the way I've described it, but just giving you a summary of the exchange that just took place.
And so a fresh shot clock here for Finland. They lead by 11. Little with the rock. He'll slip pass and feed it to Valtunen.
Well, his teammates at Baylor are going to love playing with him, because he is a pass-first type point guard. He can score the ball and he can shoot it, but you can see he enjoys making others around him getting better shots.
Saline on Cefantes. Kubian misses.
Oh,
And it's going to be a foul as Ruiz hits the deck hard, holding his knee, but Little looked like he had him boxed out.
yeah, let's have a look. Gee, I'm not sure what Little what Little did wrong there. Doing his best to box out, and that's the type of action I was talking about in the first half in regards to Venezuela and what they needed to do. And at the time, Little wasn't able to come up with it, but the idea of what he had to do, and a nice underneath out of bounds curl play by Colmenares, and they pick up an easy 2.
Matson hesitation blocked by Colmenares. And a foul here by Saline.
He's gone. Cefantes flying into the wrong bench, but have a look down this end. Good block. Colmenares, the last line of defense, gets Venezuela running, and it's been an impressive start.
Colmenares doing a lot of the work on both ends of the floor. The stoppage time, too, allows for him to play catch-up. 2 Venezuelan players left on the opposite side of the court. Kubian to Colmenares. Cefantes, Mataran with the 3.
He's shown throughout the tournament that he can knock down the 3 ball. He gets his feet set. And that time again, good wide open 3 ball.
Kama misses. Foul against Cefantes. It stays here, another chance for Finland as their lead was tied up to 8.
It was a push. It was a push.
There's the acknowledgement from Venezuelan coach Fernando Duro. And gee, he's kept calm under some pretty tough circumstances. And they really got tested against Japan. Up 15 early in the 4th.
Matson switching gears, going the other way. Back to double digits. Kubian, right to the rack, disrupted Matson. We're running with Sapala. Pass inside of Kamwa, on the block. Extra little tip from his buddy, Matson. 2 more for Finland.
Good job by Madsen. Stayed with the play. Put a lid on it. Take nothing for granted. Kamwa with the one you'd normally expect him to make, but Madsen didn't take it for granted. He gets 2 for himself.
Churio decides to pull it from the logo off Colmenares. Another chance. See if the O board here can pay off. Mataran, no, it's a takeaway. Saline off his own foot. Kubian feeds it up. Churio stopping short. Cefantes, hard drive up the left. And he'll get 2 freebies. And we'll make some substitutions here for Venezuela. Guillant back on the floor. As is Gratterall, the captain, catching a breather, Colmenares.
Soho getting ready to check in as well. Limited minutes in the first half, and he's their leading scorer in the tournament. Getting ready to check back in for Cefantes.
Fontes misses the first. He's got 7 here today.
The team as a whole, Venezuela, poor free throw shooting team. They're 30th out of 32 in free throw shooting. As I mentioned earlier, they don't get there all that often. So when they do get there, they're not able to capitalize. They get there the least amount of any team in the competition, and they shoot it the 3rd worst. In tight games, free throws matters. I need to do some work on that individually.
Makshuni on the right side, stripped down the lane, and it goes off his foot. Coach Tuovi on your screen. His unit leading by 11 here in the 3rd, 3:26 to play. It's the 9th and final day of competition for these 2 units on the floor in the classification round. Maturin. The release and another 3 for Maturin.
This lineup they've got in, I'm surprised that I haven't seen more. Just switch everything. Finland with some of their matchups, perhaps a bit concerned about having their bigs come out and guard the littles. Gratterol with a good block and rebound.
And Venezuela staying around the horn here. Churio step back 3. That one is nice, and that will force Finland to take a timeout. The lead trimmed to 5 once again.
It is, and this has been a tremendous fight back. Finland took complete control in that 2nd quarter where they had put 35 on the board. And Venezuela have made some adjustments. They've only got 12, and Venezuela have been able to back it up with their offense. They've outscored Finland 20-12 in the 3rd.
Hei, ei voi vuotaa näin. Me ollaan aivan vittu. Meillä ei ole yhtään pallon painetta. Ne pääsee ajan nyt, me joudutaan isot siihen, ja ne pääsee ajan drive and kick. Tää on nyt seuraavassa possessionissa tästä muuta.
So Venezuela stringing together a little run here in the 3rd quarter as Finland unable to capitalize on its last 4 trips down the court. You're looking at Maturin knocking down his 2nd 3-pointer of the contest. This one started a chain reaction because on the opposite end, we then saw Churio. Jose Maturin, 10 points, 50% from beyond the arc, and he stays on the floor. Ball slapped away by Soho. He was about to run down the other lane.
Well read, good hands. Some nervous moments now for Finland.
Markkanen flashing down the lane. Driving ball, Tunen sees part up.
That was just a great screen by Jontunen. Mikael Jontunen just blocked out his man, so there was no help.
Churio driving right, finish on the left. No, Gratterall keeping it in play. 2nd chance here for Venezuela. Gratterall, hot hand, Soho has to get it up. It's off in time. Sapala to Markkanen, misses, foul handed over.
Yeah, good action, end-to-end action. Sapala, he read that beautifully, knew that Markkanen was coming down the weak side and knew he had the size advantage. An awkward one, but they send a good free throw shooter to the free throw line.
Mathurin now with 3 personal fouls. Venezuela 1 away from the bonus. And both go in for Markkanen. Van Tunen just like glue here on Churio. Will hold Mathurin's jersey, no whistle. Mathurin goes right through the gut. 2 more for Mathurin. Makshuni working behind the screen, likes it better on the opposite. And in this ball, it's going to stay here.
Yeah, and I think they got it right too. Players on the weak side saw the first action, Mathurin to the basket, and again, the Finland defense. Venezuela want to challenge it. They're going to use their challenge. They believe it's an important part of the game. Again, it's always difficult.
Decision White out of bounds.
We're going to listen in here.
We were going to review who last touched the ball on the out of bounds situation. White, blue. Can we see other camera, please? Okay. White, slowly. White, blue. White, 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 white. So it's a blue ball. Do you confirm? Yeah. Blue ball. Okay.
And a challenge well used.
Well, it is, but you use it now. And if you get down to those last couple of minutes when they can be a little more critical, so they get it, they get a possession, and this is where the coach's judgment comes in, because you can live with certain advantages and disadvantages with the officiating throughout the course of the game. And he felt that right now, as Venezuela making a charge, and he must have been pretty confident. See, on that replay, there wasn't a whole lot in it, but still, they come up with the right answer and they get the ball back. Still don't know why you get penalised when you get it right. You lose your challenge.
Andrew, I agree with you. They should be able to keep it. It's a win out for good judgment and not wasting anybody's time. Churio driving, Markkanen covering, and somehow it gets over Markkanen's outreach hand. Sapala's shoulder down will give it up. Top of the key shot was the chosen one there by Van Tunen. And Giant flying down court.
Going to hold it for the last, I suspect. Oh no.
Giant. That one is good. Every time you think he's not using the shot clock valuably, he makes it. So opposite end will negate the work. Markkanen, the marksman, to close out the third quarter. Finland holding on to a 5-point lead. It's 67-62 with 10 minutes to go.
And great heads-up play that time by Ilari Sapala. He knew he had Markkanen streaming down that right side, the drop-off, and they neutralise each other, the 2-3 balls. But by and large, a really good quarter by Venezuela. They were able to put 27 on the board. Finland only 19.
Stay home with the shooters. You can eat up space, but anticipate that passing.
Venezuela able to trim off 8 points. The lead was 13 at halftime for Finland. Coach Duro making some changes, and an outside shot starting to go in.
It is, and it's that man that just shot it. Churio, he's come alive, and he's up to 15 points in the contest, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. And it's really been all about the shooting. Some of the shots you see make, gee, that should have been an and one. Cervantes just pulling the jersey. And there's that screen that I was talking about on the drive. Jon Toonen reading the situation and stopping his man from helping. That's a bit of a circus shot that goes in for Churio. But they're right back in this contest. 1 quarter to play in the 2013 FIBA World Cup for both these teams. And the game is still very much in the balance.
Start of the 4th quarter, Despina Barton alongside Andrew Gaze. It's the classification round here in Okinawa, Japan. Finland, Venezuela. Markkanen off the pass from Sapala. Quick foul to open up this quarter.
And just a really well executed play. Go screening up the top, faking screen, swinging it, and Markkanen just putting on the jets, getting in front of his defender. And forced a foul. He goes to the line to shoot 2. So good play set coming out of the 3-quarter time break.
Markkanen hits the free throw. The first one, number 23, is up to 24 points here tonight for Coach Tuovi's crew. And he remains very consistent from the free throw line, 90% on the day.
That's why I was a little surprised early on when he missed that first one. He's a elite free throw shooter.
Markkanen on Gient. We have a mismatch here. Gient deciding not to roll past him.
A lot of dribbling going nowhere.
The shot is up, not in time, and nowhere near the hoop.
Gient's got to be more creative early. He's just dribbling around in the one spot, trying to get his defense off balance, and took way too long.
Little here slowing things down for Finland. Sapala driving, dishing, Little spotted up on the baseline. A miss. Gratterall covers. So Gient to Soho. He'll drive and spin, and the ball knocked out of his hands. Little the other way. The ball to Markkanen, and the foul by Gratterall.
It was. He alley-oop play. He doesn't like it, but given what was about to happen, Markkanen said he went straight up. Referee disagrees. And that was one where Little, perhaps a little too unselfish. In a 2-1 situation, the general is go until the defense stops you. If they don't stop you, then you have the license to go ahead and make the layup. If the defense comes, you drop it off. And that time he made the pass before the defense, Gratterall, had really committed.
Markkanen, again, 2 more. Lead back to 9. Defense stays back. Gient, baseball pass to Soho on the block. He's blocked by Markkanen. Having to reconsider his plans. On the block now, Gratterall spinning, sees 2 white jerseys. It's a takeaway. Sapala, Valtunen, Markkanen now in the corner, short. And yet spots up for the three. Matter at the rebound. Gratterall here, the pick and roll. Extra pass, Soho. That one goes in. So a little patience here for Venezuela.
Yeah, it was good. Gratterall made a good decision. Got it down low. Defenses collapse in, and Soho left wide open. Same play to start the quarter.
Markkanen, wing shot in and contested. Points to Coach Tuovi and his bench.
Well, he's up to 30. It's hard to, I don't think you can have almost a contradiction when I'm going to say this, but it's kind of been a quiet 30. He's come up big, but he's been so efficient, Lauri Markkanen. 8 from 11 from the field, 11 of 12 from the free throw line. So he's been to the free throw line, and it's not just the scoring, it's the rim protection. And he knocked down a 3-ball, and for the life of me, I cannot understand why he's now been taken to the bench.
I mean, this is around the mark time in the quarter that he gets his breather.
Well, he's going to get a month and a half breather in 7 minutes. I would have thought you got your main man on, he's got 30 points, and you're trying to close out a really important win. Didn't look overly fatigued to me after you just knocked down a 3-ball.
Churio's got to get it up. They don't.
Good
Another
defense.
stop here on defense for Finland.
Get another turnover for Venezuela.
Number 7, Number 8, David.
Venezuela Finland 9 of 22 from the three-point line, and then needed it because Venezuela, they've been excellent at 13 of 27 at 48%.
Cromwell back on the floor with Markkanen out. Sapala here resetting. Driving left, the ball knocked out. He hangs on for dear life, and it goes in for Finland.
It was, it bobbled. And the composure, just to keep your wits about yourself, just to keep control of the ball.
Soho hit one moments ago. Here's another, this time slightly up on the wing. Cuts the lead to 8.
As I mentioned, they let it fly. Third in three-point field goal attempts. And on the basis of what we've seen here, you know why? 14 of 28, 50% from the three-point line.
Cromwell evaluating here. He decided to drive, kick it, spotted up, Jantunen. And every time the finisher able to answer. Kubian looking for some help.
Got to shoot it.
And the shot clock, again, another violation.
Shot clock awareness has been poor. That's the third time this quarter.
And turnover
I think
16.
It's a nice 3-ball. They've got all sorts of animal type arrangements going on in the Finnish fan base. A couple of rabbit ears, so lions, bears, rabbits. They're loving their wildlife.
Over 6,000 fans here in Okinawa Arena tonight. A few thousand of them traveling from Finland, and they've got 5.5 to go as Venezuela tries to find an answer.
Oh, Windy, se rola y sella para que te la podamos dar. No te quedes atrás del tipo, rola y sella para que te la podamos dar. Si no, la ponemos en el piso y hacemos cagada.
Markkanen, the man of the hour for Finland. Both ends of the court, he is quietly being the most impactful player of the game. You know what I think it is? I think when we see 30-point performances from others, it's a little bit splashier. There's a little bit more maybe charisma, character, what do you want to call it? Moxie, maybe?
Maybe.
But here, Markkanen is like a businessman.
Well, he is, and look at the efficiency. 8 of 11 in total. And in every part of the offensive game tonight, he's been switched on and getting the job done. He still sits on the bench. Maybe that's the other thing. He's been coming in and out of the game. And Markkanen's only played 22 minutes in this contest. So they've been prepared to throw around their lineup.
11-point lead for the finish. Myro Little with the ball, driving left, finds his spot. 2 more for Little. He's got 7.
Venezuela not doing a really good job on the on-ball screens, coming off and getting real deep.
Kubian, the feed to Gratterall. Double comes, meets him. Skips it out. And for the finish, they're trying to string together a pair of victories here to close out their World Cup play here in the classification round. They defeated Cape Verde 100-77 2 nights ago and spotted up Valtunen. And how about another chance at it? Saline. And Jan Tunen wanted it on the block. Him and Colmenares going at one another. Kamwa, easy put back on the weak side.
Yeah, concerning signs right now for Venezuela. There were bodies there for that defensive rebound, but they were just waiting for the ball to fall in their zone. No one was boxing out. Not enough activity on the defensive glass, and this has been a good run by Finland.
Markkanen, by the way, got his 3 minutes of rest, and he's back on the floor with 4:11 to play. Kubian in a hurry here. Soho, they're trying to get him the ball. Throwing up for Colmenares. And unable to retrieve it.
Well, it's all gone horribly pear-shaped the last 3 or 4 minutes for Venezuela, and rightly so. At this stage, time is running out. Fernando Duro, head coach, he wants to have a chat about it.
Y el perímetro es 3. El perímetro, 3. Vamos a ver, yo tengo 5 tipos para agarrar el rebote. A ver si agarramos el rebote, en vez de mirar, agarramos el rebote y podemos jugar algo acá. Vamos a jugar directo esto. Directo esto. A ver, fuerza. Pero cuando directo. Hasta acá, va a quedar dando vuelta acá. Ahí. Néstor, Miguel. Ahí. Así. David ataca acá. No hay nada. Materán pone bloqueo. Miguel pone ese bloqueo acá. Sacalo. Sacalo. Fle. Después seguimos poniendo el bloqueo con el taca. Vamos, muchachos. No nos entreguemos. Vamos, faltan 4 minutos todavía.
So 3:55 to go here in the fourth quarter. It's a 15-point deficit Venezuela trying to chip away at.
Here's the energy tracker. And as I mentioned, see those little white spots? That's when he's getting his rest. So almost every quarter, plays the first 3 or 4 minutes, comes off for 2 or 3, comes back on.
Systematic.
And he's back in there now. So subbing by the clock, which I'm not a big fan of, but subbing by the clock clearly with marketing today. And that graphic showed it. Consistent pattern, quarter by quarter. It picks up a foul.
Yeah, which was strange because when the official was calling it in,
Come on.
he had the incorrect number, but that one was attributed to marketing because there was no number 22 on the court. So yeah, his first personal here in the fourth.
Not sure what he did wrong on that occasion.
Soho, strong take on the right, marketing with the rebound. Nobody else in sight for Venezuela. Little, marketing.
Soho was upset that he didn't get a call down the other end, and he let his teammates down by jogging back, and they were playing 5-on-4. The penetration, easy 2. 32 now for the superstar.
Mandarin from the elbow. That one drops in. Keep an eye on Little. He's got 8 assists out on the floor right now. Like the way he's playing, just 19 years old. Markkanen for 3. Kubion now, eyes down court. 2.5 to play. This unit had it within 5 points here. Now holding onto the ball, things getting sticky. Soho drives, misses. That one hurts.
And they're looking now to use as much of the clock up as they can, give Venezuela no chance of pulling off a miracle. We're looking to shoot in the last 6 to 8 seconds is when they'll start to get a little bit more keen and trying to find a shot, just eat into the clock. And this is when they were playing 5-on-4. And Markkanen coming down the middle. The help's there, but the lack of vision.
Meanwhile, in the paint, an and one now for Elias Valtunen, and against the feed here from Little.
It is underneath, out of bounds. And you see the excitement on the young fella.
9 assists for Myra Little. Valtunen with 11 points. And Finland taking care of business here in the final minutes. A unit that had a tough start here in the World Cup group phase. They met Slovenia night number 1. Excuse me, Australia night number 1. Then the host nation, Japan and Germany.
Was the one that all unraveled against Japan in that third quarter. They were up by 18 and seemingly the game well and truly under control. And then just one of the more remarkable games we've seen at this World Cup. Japan went on a tear, and for the first time in Japanese basketball history, they got a win against a European team. in World Cup play.
Mandarin on the curl. And time is drying up. Yeah, Japan actually upsetting both of these teams on the court. And it's been fun to see the host nation and what Tom Hovas has been able to do with the program here. First with the women's national team, and now the men's. Final minute of the contest. This is going to be the final outing for these two teams. The records will be complete, and we'll soon know the final rankings. Finnish fans on their feet for the final 45.1.
Could be on there with a good hit. Good to see him continue to play it out. He's another one that's battled really hard throughout the tournament. Up to 8 points in this contest.
Kamwa dishes to the corner. Around the horn we go for Finland. Back to Kamwa, turn and shoot, fade away, good. Young star and Olivier Kamwa. There's a half-second differential here on the game clock and shot clock as Guillen picks up his dribble. Churio trying to decide what he wants to do here. He'll do a little reverse on his way out. And the final seconds tick off the clock. It's final. Finland closing out their competition here in Okinawa with back-to-back wins. They defeat Venezuela, final score 90-75. Markkanen, the man of the hour, he finishes with 32 points.
Yeah, he had a great outing for Finland, and he did it only in 25 minutes, so highly productive. And he wanted to chase the game ball, keep that as a souvenir, but Finland really cranked up the defense in that last quarter, held Venezuela to only 13 whilst collecting 23 themselves. So it's been an interesting series, an interesting World Cup for Finland, and they'll look back on it with some disappointment, but the way in which they've finished off in real character games. And if you go back to that game against Japan, how things might have been a little bit different, but still coming away with a couple of wins against some quality teams. And Venezuela, unfortunately for them, they go home winless in the World Cup, but having to deal with some injuries issues. And there we see the Finland fans.
And Susi, by the way, means wolf in Finnish. So we are connecting the dots here as Markkanen claps it up. This unit, by the way, Finland, going to make a little bit of history here on the World Cup stage. This is the first time they have notched 2 victories in the tournament. Last time they were here in 2014, they went home packing with just 1 W.
Well, they're on the rise, and always tough coming out of Europe just to qualify for a World Cup, and they did it in fine form, and they finished 8th in the Euros last year. So there's a lot to like about Finland, and like we've said right at the top, there's a couple of young fellas here in Myro Little and Olivier Kamwa in particular that have a bright future and will be part of this, you would suspect, with this Finland team for quite some time.
Yep, Little just 19 years old, the youngest to play on the national team for the Finnish. And then Kamwa, 23. And of course, Markkanen in this group, the core likely to stay intact for next World Cup. And who knows, based off the final standings here and World Cup play, they'll get an invitation to an Olympic pre-qualifying tournament, and we could see them in Paris.
Yeah, which I think they will. Their ranking and where they're at, I think, will at least get them that opportunity, and that's going to be tough. And the TCL player of the game going to well, you didn't have to be a basketball expert to know that who this was going to go to. It's going to Lauri Markkanen with the 32 points, the 9 boards. Let's not forget about them. We've neglected his work on the boards. And a magnificent 9 of 13 from the field. Well done to him. An NBA superstar and now a World Cup superstar on the rise.
And for Soho in Venezuela, they're going to go back with a lot of learning lessons from Okinawa. 0-5 as they will make the cross-world trek back to South America. They only get to see European teams every 4 years, and they had to work a lot of this time down 2 players. So for Coach Duro, he's going to have to go back to the drawing board as Kamwa and this Finnish team wanted this one more.
Kamwa, as I mentioned, very bouncy. Myra Little, he was dishing them out. 7 points, 9 assists. So he showing that he's got the basketball, and there's one of them.
And the unselfishness here with Finland now with their 4th straight with over 20 assists. They got 25, and that young man had 9 himself, sharing the ball more and more as this tournament went on.
And that's right, and the efficiency at the free throw line, 16 of 17. There's Kamwa, some of the stuff we're talking about. That's a big guy that's really agile and can play above the rim. He's an exciting prospect.
Happy for these Finland fans. They traveled extremely far to get here to Okinawa, Japan. They get to celebrate once more with their senior national team with this victory over Venezuela. It was a 15-point margin. And tonight, we get Cape Verde, Japan.
Yes.
The finale here in the classification rounds. Andrew Gaze, all finish all the way. For Andrew Gaze, I'm Despina Barton. The final score here inside Okinawa Arena, Finland 90, Venezuela 75. Congratulations, Markkanen. You guys are going out with a victory.